and will be done, and so it's just while the window's open, I wanna.
I think the focus of a lot of the conversation was financial support and to what degree by each
And I
entity.
think, and see, the meeting, the last one we had, it seemed like the group's consensus was to figure out what it was gonna cost to repair the building. Because we need to know that to know, do we have enough, how much do y'all have to kick in, or where we're gonna be able to go from there.
Well, but see, I gotta have a destination before we kick in one down.
Exactly.
I gotta be able to show our people what we're doing and why we're doing it and all those things. We ready to go?
Okay, we're ready to go.
Good morning. We'll call to order the Village of Ruidoso, City of Ruidoso Downs, Ruidoso Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board meeting to order. It's July 21st, 2021. It's 10 a.m. And we'll have a roll call, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Chair Crawford,
Here.
Counselor Jackson,
Here.
Counselor Cornelius,
Here.
Mayor Holman, Joey Jarvis,
Here,
all present. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. If I could get a motion for today's agenda, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, first regular item is discussion and possible action on approval of minutes from May 19th, 2021 regular meeting. We have any discussion? Can I entertain a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Follow-up discussion? Being none, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on second renewal agreement with Environmental Science Associates, ESA, for professional environmental consulting services to assist the regional wastewater treatment facility. Oh, did Isaac ever make it?
He's on his way.
Okay, so we're waiting on Isaac. So we'll go ahead and move forward with our, excuse me, our presenter, who is Isaac Garcia is not here. So
Mr. Mayor, you could just move the agenda items as you so decide, so that in the interest of time.
okay,
Yes.
everybody concur with that?
Yes, sir.
All righty, thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, discussion and possible action on professional services agreement with Miller Engineers, Inc., DBA Souder Miller and Associates, in the amount of $10,843.75, including gross receipts tax, for a wastewater treatment plant solar project feasibility assessment and development support. And that is, let me see, I don't have the gentleman's name. Eric Boyda.
I didn't
And Eric Boyda's not going to be here either.
No.
So who's taking Eric Boyda's place? Come on in, Isaac. We're waiting on you. Who's taking Mr. Boyda's position? Is anybody? You are? Okay, you're up.
Okay.
We're on item
Number 3.
For the Souder Miller Solar Energy.
Yeah, Mr. Boyda called in and said he had an emergency, another emergency or something.
Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's what I was just told.
Good morning. My name is Isaac Garcia, the Department Director of the Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility. And this is for Souder Miller to conduct an electrical study to see if the solar power is going to be feasible at the facility. It's going to require approximately 2 years of data and other studies as far as my equipment, and then the 5-year to see how much the electrical is going to go up within the next 5-year period.
Isaac, on
What's that?
the ones they're doing for the village, they're talking about doing, not tying them directly into the facility. They're going to do a big array, and whatever we generate, we deduct that from
the bill.
Right.
Is that what they're proposing here? Or are they still looking at tying directly in?
This one is just, what I read on this particular one is for the wastewater treatment plant.
So they tie directly in.
Yes.
I just wondered, because there was discussion about you having 3 different meters or something.
Well, and that's what they were also gonna do on this, proposal is see if they can't, if it wouldn't be easier just to tie all 3 meters into one giant one and then go from there. Which I don't know if they're gonna be able to because there's so many pieces of equipment that are tied into each individual one. It would take a lot of, it could shut down the plant for extended periods of time. So we're not sure how that's gonna go yet. And that's what this study and, their proposal is all for.
Yeah, okay.
Isaac, as I recall also, there was one meter in particular that they didn't seem to have that much of a load. I don't know if it's because it's not principally dedicated to 480 or volt or not, but whether or not it would even with the change-up, if it would be feasible or economical.
Right, and that's the one for our building itself, but there is other equipment tied onto that one as well. Yes, sir, that's what made it difficult to go ahead and add it on to another one.
And just a simple question, if they required 2 years going forward, why couldn't they use 2 years going back? I mean, it would seem like the demand loads are not that different.
Because of population increase, things like that, and expected
Supposed,
tourism. Yes, sir.
we still think Ruidoso's had a decrease in population, so we're still waiting on that, but is there anybody from Souter Miller on the line that we could call and ask them a few questions
I think
about?
it is previous 2 years.
It is previous, because it just says at least 2
They had
years
asked for
worth.
that before.
Right. For
It says
Johnson.
SMA will require the following information from client, at least 2 years worth of individual electric utility bills for the 3 WWTP electric meters. And it doesn't say
The next line says they will project the next,
5 to 10.
Yeah, exactly.
so I think it's just getting those bills, if Eric hadn't already done it.
Right.
And we have all that, that we have already sent to Johnson and Control, so we have it all in a separate file. That wouldn't be any problem to send him each individual meter.
Of course, that was probably 2 years ago.
Yes, sir. But we still keep it, we keep all those
Okay.
on hand.
And so when might we expect some type of result from their investigation?
They say approximately 3 months.
Yep. It says anticipates the being done within the approximately 3 months, but they're also going to research the opportunities available for financing. So this is a little different than what we saw that they were doing for the village. The village was looking at overall and then deducting, this one would actually be at the plant.
Yes, sir.
And so they, in this discussion, they will be looking at the Williams property for, so they'll be talking, I was looking through the scope of work and I didn't, it just talks about coordination with village staff.
Well, we need to make sure they have Bordy's information so
Right.
they can get in touch with him too.
And we did discuss that with them in the previous meeting. What was the gentleman's name?
Del Lyons?
Who?
Was it Del Lyons?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dale Lyons, thank you.
I'd kind of like to see them, they don't need the whole 10 acres up there, they've said.
Right,
But if they can make the plant larger, if they're doing like they're going to do for the village,
yes, sir.
then that should offset some of the night cost when the sun's not out. And I assume they'll look at that, but
You guys have any questions? I had, maybe y'all can answer mine. I just want to make sure that they understand that they need to be talking to Bordy too. And I think we made that clear, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
And Eric has been dealing with them directly.
Okay.
well, and there's several solar companies that seem to be interested. I keep getting phone calls forward to Eric about it.
Okay, and I know then this, they're gonna determine whether it's we own it or they own it?
Yes.
The different policy, the different types,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And whether we go with your favorite CES contract, or there is a state
Mm-hmm.
that cuts CES out of it. I think it's a little bit cheaper.
I don't know how it couldn't be, to be honest. Okay, and then they'll come up with the conceptual plan and everything.
And then I just had a question in funding down the road. Will that come out of an environmental GRT fund that we have set aside through the wastewater treatment plant?
That's, how are we paying for it through the village?
Well, right now, for this particular, for this proposal, we already have the $10,000 budgeted.
Set aside?
Yes, sir. And this is just for the initial study.
Study, yeah.
Yes, sir.
But for the
That
actual
answer?
facility,
I understood that. I'm just thinking about the global fee if we elect to go with this program and which program we choose, and that's going to be a considerably larger amount. Is that thought to be funded currently with our budgeting through the environmental?
I think that we would go with that. What percentage is the environmental? Is it like 25% of 1% or something? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
And Judy's not on the line either.
We looked that up the other day. Part of it was
these guys
carved
are
out.
supposed to look at the clean water fund from the state too. There are a couple of funds there that they're going to try to get some money from.
And that is that, I think the statement in here is that we'll research current funding opportunities, the EPA's Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So that's just one source that they cite. I just know that as engineer, we called to have one look at our building, and just for him to show up was 10 grand. So I think that we've been asking this question for years on the solar deal. Y'all think it's about time that we move forward and look at it?
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's a good time with our political climate right now.
Definitely.
The federal and the state level are pushing this, so.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, if we'll get a motion for item number 3.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve professional services agreement with Miller Engineers, Inc., doing business as Souter Miller and Associates, in the amount of $10,843.75, including gross receipts tax for a wastewater treatment plant solar project feasibility assessment and development support.
Second.
All right. We've had a discussion, so can we get a roll call, please, ma'am?
Yes. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye. All right, we'll move back to item number 2, if it pleases the committee. And we'll go to discussion and possible action on second renewal agreement with Environmental Science Associates, ESA, for professional environmental consulting services to assist the regional wastewater treatment facility. This is Mr. Garcia. Yes, sir, Isaac.
And that is, Mayor and Councilors, that is for the continuation with Jim Good to change the designation of the river from cold to cool. And I am not sure where we are at on that particular item. I think Eric has been on the lead on that. But I think it's almost through, but this is just to renew it, to keep moving forward.
And we've talked about this every year, about moving forward
Yes, sir.
to get it done. And sometimes I forget why we're doing it. But just to refresh my memory and maybe y'all's to make sure that I'm on the same train of thought, is that go from cold to cold, from cold to cool, because it changes our load that we have on our EPA requirements.
Yes, sir.
And that would be beneficial to the tune of no telling how many millions of dollars eventually. And so we're still moving forward. I just wonder why it hasn't been concluded. I thought the that the state had came down on our side.
Yes, and as you know, we are gonna, our permit expires next year, so we are gonna be acquiring a new permit. So hopefully this gets done before that, but no telling when that might be completed.
Okay.
He had to go through more state and public hearings. I think he's done part of it.
Okay.
And then we have to go before the
Santa Fe.
Water Quality Commission or something.
And I'm very pleased that we're renewing this agreement before it's expired. Usually we get them and they've already getting ready or they're going to have to. Okay, so I think we all agree on the purpose and the continued support of. So if we could get a motion, please, for item number 2.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the second renewal agreement with Environmental Science Associates, ESA, for professional environmental consulting services to assist the regional wastewater treatment facility.
Second.
Okay. No more discussion. Roll call, please, Bertha.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis, Mayor Holman.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Item number 4, monthly report on the regional wastewater treatment plant. It's the Isaac Garcia Show today. So, Mr. Garcia, you have the floor, sir.
So we have been doing great out there. Even with the flooding that came along, we've, even this morning, we were removing more debris that is still coming into the facility from our lift station. What we have is an influent lift station that has 4 flight pumps. Before, we had screws, Archimedes screws that would bring everything into the facility, into our bar screen. So right now, in a way, it's a good thing because it all settles out in our initial lift station, and we're able to clean it out little by little instead of all at once, and possibly violating or flooding our facility. So we've been doing that gradually, and we're moving forward with that. The flows were about 1.48 last month. We did, however, have a violation of our total phosphorus and total nitrogen due to a carrier issue. I think I already mentioned that.
Yes.
So that was not a good thing, but we did get that taken care of, and we did send out samples last week, and they did receive them. So from now on, if for some reason they don't receive our samples within a timely manner that they're supposed to, which is next day, because of the 4 degrees Celsius preservative that is required, I will drive them personally up there myself after we sample for a second set of samples. I did already complete the letter to the EPA as well as NMED. I don't know if you guys got that. Yes, sir, but, that's already been taken care of. And, I haven't gotten any response from them, and I probably won't, because I think they're still shorthanded and behind on things, but,
Yes.
I did take care of that. And, I did talk to the carrier company, about that problem, and they assured me that it shouldn't happen again, but there's no promises on that. And, we're just gonna move forward from that violation and, hopefully never happen again. Like I said, even if I have to drive them over there myself to the contract laboratory, I will.
Go right ahead, Joey.
Isaac, I would, with your blessing of your mayor, I would drive them every time up there. I know you had this problem, we, we're on the water side, but we have had the exact same issue. We've had the issue with the lab saying, they accepted the samples, everything was good. 3 weeks later, oh, it was cracked and it leaked out, so you got a violation.
Yeah,
So sometimes I think it might be better, just to spend a day at a time and just drive them up there.
Maybe you guys ought to do it the same day so you can combine efforts and take both of them up.
Right?
Is there a possibility of that?
Depends on when all of our stuff falls in August and September, so I don't know when his is, but
all of ours is usually the first or second week of every month.
every month.
Yes, sir.
So
It's
you
a
may,
good time to go to Albuquerque and get you pickup parts for whatever. I know that it's happened to us multiple times, so we drive ours up, we don't mess with carriers no more.
Do you?
We've had too many
well,
issues.
why don't we see if we can't work together since y'all are going? Does our water department, do you have any of those same issues or you take it to our plant up here?
Mayor, Randy and Terry actually take care of that, and I believe they do use a carrier.
Okay, why don't we look into how we could do that, because that was a big, slap on us for, following all the rules or whatever. So why don't we, Isaac, if you'd take a little time to talk to Randy, find out, and then coordinate with Joey, and then get back with me so we can figure out how we can coordinate these things.
Yes, sir.
Do you have time to run up there?
I do, or I can send one of my guys, or actually I would do it myself, just to make sure that it gets there to the lab in a timely manner.
Do they sign a receipt for it when they receive it?
They do.
And give you a copy?
They do, well, and especially now, they're gonna send me an email, and I had them call me as well.
I mean, as you go up there by hand.
I'm very sure they will. Yes, sir.
When you walk in, it's what do you call it? It's a room that has fans that sucks the air out.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
zero.
negative flow.
Yeah, and they check them and whatnot to make sure that there's no cracks, the temperatures are correct. And we've had a lot of problems with carriers or something. We were
Wow.
using the bus and UPS, so to me, it's just easier to guarantee, they got there at a timely and not worry about having to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah, because it kind of, like you said, it was a slap in the face, and we did resample in a timely manner to get a second set of samples out there, but again, they didn't receive them in a timely manner, and they were violation, they were red
It's
flag.
easier to drive up there once a month, it takes you half a day and go back.
Yeah, and what I should have done the second time, they assured me they were gonna get there, and they just didn't,
What?
unfortunately. And,
We all, been there, done that.
yes, sir. And like I was telling, what I would like to tell the public is we didn't violate on nitrogen or phosphorus going out into the river. It was just this particular sample.
Sorry.
Um,
What's that? Oh, yeah, so that's Susan, I was trying to find out if we needed. Okay, so is that the consensus that we want?
I think it'd be best.
Okay.
And I'll talk to the different,
And see how we can maybe consolidate all that and carry theirs
yep,
sometimes when we go, or vice versa, or whatever.
The sad part of it is I don't think the carrier has any liability in any of this.
No?
Too
No.
bad, so sad, next.
Yeah.
They don't, and like I said, even with going up there, you have to make sure you check, because we had a TTHM come back, they signed off on it, and 3 weeks later, when they actually, because they don't test the stuff right then. Oh, well, the bottle was cracked and it leaked, well, why didn't you check it, so. Then it puts you into sampling more next time and repeats, and
right.
that costs you more money, because you gotta pay for the repeats. And
Yes, sir.
to me, it's just cheaper just to go up there, and that way they're done.
Sounds good.
Isaac, not sure this may be for Adam or, somebody said that during the flood, we took in a bunch of extra water because the manhole covers came off. Is that right?
Counselor, there was some manhole covers that did get surcharged and come off. We did, SAK has completed the lining process. But there is still portions of the line that, like the lift station part of it, at Sleepy Hollow, where we're getting a lot of the infiltration, and, that piece of line is still intact or in the ground. So we are still getting surcharges when the river does come up a bunch.
So are you saying surcharged?
Surcharge, where between Sleepy Hollow and the traffic circle, main road,
Uh-huh.
it comes through the river there, and part of the lift station project is they're gonna eliminate that line.
Right.
Even in the past, when the river does get to a certain level, it surcharges that line, it infiltrates that line, and it'll blow some of the manhole covers off.
So those don't have any kind of a locking thing like the water meter cans do?
No, and it's probably a good thing that some of them do come off, because you're gonna flood houses and stuff if
Oh,
not.
okay.
Oh, boy.
It's bad for us, but it's, it's
In the
a
long run.
catch-22.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So you've done all the paperwork,
Yes, sir.
everything that we're required to do, and I know you sampled down the river, and that we had a lot of E. coli to start, and then after, 2 days,
It cleared up after 3 samples, so on the 4th sample, it cleared up.
okay, so that solution by dilution type thing, and, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done all we can do on that portion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
May I see the fog one?
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't have it right
Good
now.
news.
So,
It's going in the right direction.
yeah, a little bit. So we did take fog samples from the Inn of Mountain Gods, Palmer Loop, and the Apache Travel Center. The Inn of the Mountain Gods, they were 34.5, Palmer Loop was 33.8, and the Apache Travel Center was 7.62. It could have been at, possibly at low flow, or, like I say, it's always a snapshot, you never know exactly what it's gonna be. But, as Counselor Jackson said, they are kind of going down some. They just kind of depend on when we get them from month to month. Well, I'm interested to see what this month's results come out as. Because there was a lot of people in town.
There was, and I had a discussion with President Aguilar about this, and I forgot the gentleman's name he told me that he deals with up there. But he was going to have a discussion with him, and he was supposed to get in touch with you because he knew you, the guy did, Adam. Find out what we could do, because I was asking him about, are they pumping their grease traps? Maybe there needs to be a grease trap installed, those kind of things, and that we needed their help because it was coming down to expense and we were going to pass it on.
Mayor, Cannon Industries is the one that actually.
Cannon, yeah. But what's his name?
Colin Cannon.
Yeah, Colin. Yeah, I believe that was it, Colin. Okay.
And we, in the past, we have actually, drove out there at night when they do pump their lift stations to make sure that they are getting pumped. And last year before last is when we found that grease trap that, for the Apache T, that I guess.
Had never been pumped.
Nobody knew was there. And we found it for them.
Do we ever figure out about the one that had the, what was it that was inside the sewer line? You know, that you said there was a manhole cover and some other stuff that was in the sewer line?
Oh, the backup we had on Carrizo, is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
There was pants and shirts and everything else in that line when we took it out. And, there were some steps to some manholes that had fallen off, from manholes up above. The sewer guys have gone through the manholes all the way up into the res just to make sure there's no other debris that they could see and clean it out. And MP Chavez actually did do a slip line through the dam, or SAK and MP Chavez actually did a slip line through the dam we did had some issues with that line. So it's getting better, but we got to keep on top of it.
Do we have any idea how it got in there?
The steps, it's just, the gases eat up those manholes and they just corroded and they fell off.
Just fell in, just rusted, and boom.
Yeah. One of the manholes that I'm actually working on getting done right now on Carrizo, the whole, where the trough is inside on the bottom of the manhole, it's gone. I mean, there's rebar there. It's completely just disintegrated.
And that's ours?
That is ours.
Okay, so that's on your list, I'm sure.
That's on my list, and, it's us and the reservation. We have the ones right here on Highway 70 doing the same things, it's just the gases that, they have a lift station there, and it sits in there so long, it gets septic, and those gases build up in those manholes, and it eats everything up.
Wow.
Well, do you have any kind of an inspection? I don't want some guy falling off one of those.
No, actually, the steps, any step in a manhole is illegal now. You cannot have steps in a manhole. All of our people, we actually use harnesses and a tripod to get it to lower down into the manholes.
So can we remove them all now? Or?
Any maintenance we do on a manhole, if we do redo it, all the steps will be removed. And all the maintenance that SAK has done with the interceptor line, all the steps have been removed.
Okay, good.
That's a fun fact I didn't know.
I'm learning a lot. This is really interesting.
I had no idea. I knew that gas would eat it up pretty bad, but I didn't know could be it. So, I would like to, I'm gonna follow up with Gabe, just to find out if he had that conversation, and then when we can sit down and maybe talk about some of your ideas that might help, because aren't we talking about putting in some sort of, something up at Palmer Loop on, like a grease trap or something?
I believe there needs to be, one of the main issues we had was with the hunting lodge up there?
Yeah, big game lodge.
Yeah, they had their lift station, or they have a lift station and a grease trap, and it was pretty nasty. And I think that's where we're getting a lot of it. But I think from Palmer Loop also we're getting a lot of grease down from there.
Okay.
Well, even though those numbers are down, they're still way high.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it looks like in February and March, it was around 50.
Yeah,
Then in April, it was 136.
yeah.
And then it dropped to 28, and today's 33.8. So whatever your interventions were, they show great promise. I mean, not that we can't do better, but 150, we really cut everybody's eye. It must have been just almost straight through.
It was pretty nasty when we collected them at that moment. Mhm. Any questions?
I don't think so. Do you guys have any further questions? How's the staff going on out there? Because you've picked up a couple of people, haven't you?
They are doing great. They are doing really good. They're
What
learning.
department did you steal them from? You poached them from
Adam's,
Adam?
like always. Actually, one from Adam and one from Joey.
Oh, one from y'all.
We'll get our revenge, right?
Well, he's not number one in the number two business for nothing.
I was joking with him. I'm like, I'm gonna send you back to the Downs. I was just messing with him. But no,
Okay.
he's doing good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, when we got our last permit, they worked with us and said if we'd hook up 200 people, they did the calculations and we could meet the nitrogen and phosphorus. Have we?
Met the connections.
No, well, I know we've done the 200, but has that made a difference on the nitrogen? That was all theoretical and they were helping us, but this next permit,
That's gonna be interesting.
Oh,
you can't tell yet.
No, one thing I can tell, as the more that SAK does the rehabilitation on the sewer, I am noticing that our solids are staying higher, longer now. The concentration that's coming into the facility is definitely, it's definitely higher than what it was
We don't
before.
have the water.
They had to dilute it out. We're still getting infiltration, but not as much.
Yeah, well, you probably always will.
Yes,
a
sir.
little bit. So when we get this new permit, are we gonna have to have the state do the TMDLs and all that process again?
Yes, I'm actually gonna get with Molson and Corbin once that time comes, and we're gonna work together and get it done again.
Okay. Because that's a process.
Yes, sir. And I've already talked to Clayton about it, and as well as Derek, and they're ready whenever we are.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll get some good news. An attainable TNDL that we can meet.
Yeah, well, if we get that UAA, that'll help that with your dissolved oxygen
Yeah.
at least.
Yes, sir.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? It took me years to learn what TMDL was and UAA and be able to follow along in the same sentence, so it's almost like speaking another language.
it is another language.
Well, it gets very complicated, but, you know, it's funny how things have happened. The UAA seems like it was a result of a marketing ploy for some businesses that were going to do fly fishing in the Rio Ruidoso way back when, and so if it was cold water and you had trout, then you got publications, and that backfired on us. And so we're trying to get back to where we should be, we think, so. Anyway,
And the valley's very supportive of it.
yeah. They want us to ease restrictions.
I know.
You know, the valley, if it was up to them, I don't know what we would do with the water, and that's why we actually entertained the idea and did some research on reuse. What it would take for us to put that purple pipe or whatever color pipe it is in the ground and pumping it back up and using it on parks, golf courses, things like that. And then when they saw that we're putting $1 million, you know, the Village of Ruidoso, we get what kind of water credits off of the Eagle? About 50, what is it, 50? 50%. And because we pump so much of our water from the Eagle Creek water system over, so we get water credits. And all that water then is pushed down the Rio Ruidoso to the valley. And so once we started letting them know how all this works, then some people understood that they need us to keep doing what we're doing.
Right. We won't have a river if not.
You won't have a river a lot of time.
Yeah,
And plus the cost of building the Taj Mahal.
Council,
Yeah.
years and years ago.
Yep. So
The
it's the same-
reuse. the reuse.
Yeah, it's the same song and dance. We just spend more money and we get more detailed in the information, so.
Well, we made sure they knew about it.
Yeah, we did. We made sure the valley knew, and our main thing is to keep our record clean and keep doing what we're doing.
Yes, sir.
To make sure that, we don't give the Diamond A, Mr. Ford and others a reason to question what we're doing. Because we always, we know that the village hasn't always been a good neighbor. So we've been trying to correct that. And anyway, all right. So is that it from you, Isaac?
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any final questions for Isaac? Do we have any reports from board members? Mr. Jarvis?
No, sir, nothing right now.
Mr. Mayor?
No, sir.
I don't have anything. Gary? No? Fine? Okay. Well, then, that will end this agenda for the Ruidoso Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board. And so, no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
I apologize for my tardiness.
Oh, that's all right. Well, Boyd had just called me right as I was pulling in and said he's gonna have Courtney. This is what he said, I'll have Courtney show up to sign that executive order, that letter. And I said, okay, and he goes in, and I have to take my girlfriend to the not emergency room, the urgent care deal. So, and he's in Alamo, so that let me know, hey, I ain't gonna be here. So he's saying, I'm not gonna be there. It just dawned on me just then.